he was just over a hill. So the decoys were on the side of the hill where he could see him from a long ways off. And he came in to investigate. And he was just over a little bit of a rise, 35 yards out, kind of weaving through the trees when I got a visual on him, and already had the gun up, took the safety off, and dropped him right there.
Welcome to the LandTrust Podcast, where land, technology, and the outdoors meet. Whether you're a landowner, an outdoor enthusiast, or someone curious about the future of recreation on private land, you're in the right place. Each episode, we share real stories from the LandTrust community, from unforgettable guest experiences to conversations with landowners about their land and why they choose to share it, plus interviews with leaders, shaping how we all experience the outdoors. And now, here's your host, Nick DeCastro.
Welcome to the LandTrust Podcast, where land, technology, and the outdoors come together. This episode is part of our 5-Star Stories series, where we dive into unforgettable moments shared between guests and landowners through LandTrust. I'm your host, Nick DeCastro, and the founder of LandTrust. Today, we're headed to the rolling hills of Tennessee to a place called Ohana Ranches, where Brian hosted a trip that turned into something special for our guest today, Dan. He came looking for an Eastern turkey hunt, and he was, I think, very happy with the way his hunt ended based on some of the pictures I saw. Dan's actually I think you're a 2 or 3 time podcast guest at this point. So let's get into it, Dan.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me, Nick.
You and I met in Bozeman when you were living there, and I was living there. Neither of us live there anymore. We both, is Nashville the South? It's the South. Is it the South?
Yeah,
okay, it's the South. I'm in the deep South
of the Mason-Dixon.
Okay, I'm in the, I'm in Southern Alabama, so I'm South. But yeah, we both moved to the South, and you had been a LandTrust customer in Montana and getting out and around town there. But you found some property. How close is Ohana to where you're based out of?
It's about an hour and a half from where I live. So that's part of what made this experience a unique experience in that, I booked the hunt and saw that it was an hour and a half. And of course, it was a turkey hunt. So that meant a really early bell. So I decided to spend the night there. So I checked in with Brian, the landowner, in advance, and he's like, yeah, absolutely. And I ended up, based on where he said the birds were roosting, pitching my ground blind and actually sleeping in my ground blind.
That's dedication right there.
And I remember telling my brother that, hey, if Lisa, my wife, asks you about whether or not this is strange, just tell her that everybody does this, just spends the night in their ground blind before a turkey hunt. But it was a really unique experience, and Brian's great.
I haven't slept in a ground blind. I mean, I've fallen asleep in a blind, of course, as everybody has, but was it fine? Was it cold? How was it?
Yeah, it was fine. So I took a sleeping pad and my sleeping bag and just put it on the ground. And, the coyotes were pretty raucous that night, so they kept me up a bit. And it was a full moon, so it was very bright. But I got some sleep. And then in the morning, I was able to slip out without a headlamp, set my decoys, and get back in the ground blind and be ready to go with very little disruption. It's a tactic that ended up maybe being pretty good.
So you're already out there. Were you able to actually roost the birds? You saw them roosted the night before?
I was hoping to have that be the case, but they were pretty quiet, and I couldn't get a beat on where they were that night.
Did you hear the morning gobble? You're going blind effectively. Although, again, one of the beautiful things about LandTrust is, almost all of our landowners live on the properties, so they have a really good pulse on what's happening there, and that's a huge help. It's almost like semi-guided in a way because they tell you how the whole place works. So he had told you, hey, the birds have been roosting right over here. You just didn't get your own eyes on.
Well, so Brian was great. We actually had a couple of conversations leading up to my hunt, and it was late season. So maybe backing up for a minute, Yanali is a WMA area in my area. And it's great land, and there are a lot of birds, and I hunted that several times, but it also gets very heavily hunted. So there are a lot of people, and the birds were onto us. And so as I talked with Brian leading up to my hunt, he gave me some intel about where other hunters had success, where he was seeing the birds. And we talked strategy. And what was funny, I'm not a very accomplished turkey hunter. I mean, I've killed a bunch of birds, mostly with my bow. But he wanted to know like my approach. And so between the two of us, we really kind of collaborated on a hunt plan that turned out to be successful.
Okay. Well, I've only killed one bird, so I'm on my quest this spring to make that a couple more. But okay, so you slept in your, which is a pretty good tactic. You don't have to walk through the woods. You don't have to wake up extra early. You just kind of wake up and roll out of it.
Right.
When did you hear the first, like, how did you know there were birds? Like, when did you get that confirmation?
Yeah. So I had an early gobble, but it was long off. It was quite a ways off. And so I called, but I generally call sparingly. And so if the birds are really vocal, then I'll be vocal back. But in this case, I was getting some gobbles right at legal shooting light, but then it got quiet, and I made sure that whatever birds were in the area that they knew where I was, and I set up with a breeding pair because it was late season, and in this case, patience paid off because I just was quiet after hearing a gobble that was quite a ways off, and this bird came in silently.
Really?
Yeah, never made a peep. All of a sudden, he was there at 35 yards.
You said this was late season, so it kind of makes sense, right?
Right.
Were you hunting with a gun or a bow?
I was with a gun.
That's how I prefer.
Yep. So as soon as he gave me a visual, I was able to close the deal.
That's awesome. Did he strut at all?
Nope. He came in with his head up, and he was checking out my set, but he was a little wary, so he was staying in the timber. But I set up at the end of this tree line. Ground blind was tucked into the tree line, and then it was a power line. So he got a visual of my decoys without seeing where I was set up.
Nice.
And so it really worked. He was just over a hill, so the decoys were on the side of the hill where he could see him from a long ways off, and he came in to investigate. And he was just over a little bit of a rise, 35 yards out, and kind of weaving through the trees when I got a visual on him, and already had the gun up and ready, and took the safety off and dropped him right there.
That's awesome. All right, so for people who may not know, Dan is CEO of a company called Tethered, and I'm curious, do people hunt turkeys out of saddles? Is that kosher? I don't know the rules.
Yeah, it's been done, although I would say it's uncommon.
Okay, all right. I'm for asymmetric advantage. I need all the help I can get. So like I don't really hunt with a bow very much because I don't get to hunt very much and need to practice a bunch. If I go out, I want to be able to, if I see animals, try to kill them. But I'm curious. I was thinking about that before we got on this. I'm like, I wonder if people use saddles to do that.
Yeah, and like guys like John Eberhart, who's kind of the grandfather of saddle hunting in many regards, and a friend of Tethered's. He's killed birds out of a saddle, and other kind of diehard saddle hunters will hunt turkeys from a saddle, and they've killed birds. It's effective.
I believe it.
Because, certainly turkeys have enemies in the air with hawks, but they generally are looking for their enemies on the ground. And so it can be an advantage. Interesting.
Oh, that's very cool. Okay, and I was just looking at Ohana before this, and they're booked out. I think he only does 3 hunts a year, and it looks like you might have gotten another crack at him over there. But it's a cool thing about our landowners too, is they really do. It's not like outfitters. I'm not trying to be negative on outfitters, and there's great ones out there, but this is where they live and work, and they're not trying to run like 500 hunters through something. John was like, hey, I know what my turkey population is. We can kill a few birds a year and have a great population and continue that. So, Yeah, I was going to tell people to go check out the place, but you can't book this year, maybe next year.
Yeah, and Brian was great. Like I booked it again this year. I'm not waiting to the end of the season, so I actually booked the opener originally, which is April 11th for us, and then personal plans came up where I've got to travel for that weekend. So I sent Brian a note and said, "Hey, I'm going to come in on the 18th maybe," and he said, "Just a heads up, Dan, we've got somebody that booked it the week before, so there may be a little bit of pressure." So I moved it to the 25th, just to give the area a little bit of time to calm down. But I wouldn't have done it without Brian's guidance. Yeah. So yeah, he's been an awesome host, and like you said, it's a different set of incentives.
Yes.
It's different framework than an outfitted hunt. But you get the advantage of the landowner's knowledge of what's going on. And I fully expect to touch base with Brian because he's hunting the land too, right? Yep. And the last time we talked about it, he was trying to develop his strategies. And like I said, we kind of came to a hunt plan together. So I sent a note to him actually this morning, just saying that I was looking forward to coming out again and that I would reach out to him as we got closer to that date, just so we can touch base and connect. And I can get some intel about, where he's seeing birds and if his other hunters had success or not, and develop a strategy from there.
It's such a unique dynamic. We both came from a very public land Western state where the idea of like collaborating with strangers on where to find birds and all that is just like so, it would never happen ever.
It's very foreign.
Yeah,
that's
but
right.
It's kind of cool. It's a collaboration, you guys are both enjoying a resource because it's controlled. But yeah, it's super interesting. By the way, I don't know if I told you, but we just officially partnered with Turkeys for Tomorrow. They're probably the fastest.
I saw that.
Yeah, they're probably the fastest growing conservation nonprofit right now. Really cool guys. So all the every single turkey booking, you see that little $10 conservation fee that gets tacked on. That's going to TFT now. So for people out there, we're trying to put a little bit of money in the hat on every turkey booking. Turkeys are probably the number one book thing on LandTrust right now. Upland birds are pretty high, and obviously whitetail deer. But yeah, we're going to do more with those guys and kind of working with them to help our landowners too, just from a conservation effort. So obviously, at Ohana, he hunts too. So he's always kind of paying attention. But some of our landowners are just farmers and ranchers. And so we're going to work with the TFT guys to get them like timely, relevant things. Like, hey, it's, this time of year, don't mow anything for the next, 4 weeks or something like that because they got poults on the ground. So just these little tips and tricks that can help create quality habitat and wildlife. So yeah, we're excited about all that stuff.
That's great. Good for you.
What other hunts you have? I mean, spring's coming up. Are you looking at whitetails? What are you looking at?
Yeah, I've got to do some work on some properties around here. But yeah, I am looking at locking down whitetail plans. And the great thing about LandTrust is you guys have expanded now into lots of different markets. And I hunt whitetails here in Tennessee. I hunt whitetails oftentimes back in Michigan where I have family. I go to North Dakota to hunt whitetails. Minnesota's been in my rotation. So it's great that I can poke around on LandTrust and find opportunities. And, maybe one of the things that some of your listeners may not be familiar with is booking LandTrust land for shed hunting too. So I did that when we were in Bozeman together. And it's cool because you can get big properties to yourself for shed hunting at a really low cost.
And it's like a scouting. Right? Then you're effectively scouting the property.
You're scouting like you're serving all kinds of purposes, and it's just good to get out that time of year and get boots on the ground. And yes, I've found sheds, but it's some of the best. Happened upon an awesome elk herd, and it was really just a great experience. So I booked that property to shed hunt a couple of times.
Yeah.
And
we're seeing some of those inquiries come in right now because it's, people are starting to think about it. Same thing with fishing. Fishing is getting bigger on LandTrust. So book a day or two fishing out on some of these properties. And it's like a fun day. You can go with the family, the kids, the wife, whatever, but also kind of scout and fish. By the way, whitetails, me and my buddies are talking about it. Ohio. And Ohio's over the counter, I'm pretty sure. And we've got some properties on LandTrust where it's the size of bucks and the amount of bucks is crazy. So
yeah, that's a great reminder. I'm actually talking with a buddy later today. He's a friend that I hunt in North Dakota with, and I've hunted in Minnesota. We've got to put that's a good reminder.
I'll send you some of the field notes from Ohio. The guy's got it's one of our landowners. He's got an unbelievable setup. So, well, awesome, Dan. I appreciate you coming on. I think this is your third one. So you're the number one podcast guest for LandTrust. And I'm wishing you luck. And I think we're going to see each other at Safari Club in a few weeks. So I hope so.
Yeah, look forward to that.
Awesome, man. Well,
that's right. It's right around the corner.
It is around the corner. It's a fun show. But yeah, appreciate it. For those listening, I'll be dropping links and stuff in the bottom. You go check these places out. But thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Nick.
We want to give a big thanks again to Dan for coming on. As I mentioned, he has been a guest a few times. It was an early 5-star stories because he has been using LandTrust for years now as a hunter, but also I've had him on our Outsides Insider series because Dan was the former CEO at MeatEater and is now the CEO at Tethered. So influential businesses in the space, and Dan's an awesome guy. So thanks, Dan. And also thanks to Brian for being a fantastic landowner. They're at Ohana Ranches in Tennessee. So as I mentioned there, I was going to tell you all to go check out Ohana if you want to book it for turkeys. Unfortunately, this year it is booked up, but follow him. There's other activities I think he's offering out there as well. I think he might offer some whitetail hunts and just some fun outdoor rec stuff. So check them out. You can go to LandTrust.com, search Ohana Ranches, and you should be able to find it. I'll put some links to the show notes there as well. By the way, if you're a landowner and you're thinking about listing your land and it's been something you've been like, I don't know if I should or not, it's super easy to get started. Visit LandTrust.com/landowners. Or call or text our team. We're real people. Our team talks to landowners like you all day, every day, all across the country. You can call or text them at 406-709-8450. And we'd love to just answer questions you have. It's totally free. We will do all the work for you. So give it a go. All right, folks, that's a wrap. Thanks for tuning into the LandTrust Podcast and our 5-star stories series. This is another fun turkey one as we gear up for turkey season. And remember, if you're looking to get out on your next great outdoor experience, you know where to find it, landtrust.com. See you next time.